All right, and we're live.
Awesome.
We're live. I'm doing a interview with Mexican mgtow, and hopefully we'll have questions for each other. We'll be able to ask each other stuff, and we'll be able to have a rational discussion about whatever comes to mind, and also maybe touch base on a few concept ideas that Mexican mgtow wants to touch base on, and we'll see how well this goes. And yeah, so do you want me to get started, or you do?
No, no. Well, first I want to say thank you very much, my brother, the Forbidden Thinker. Awesome, man. Thank you for having me. I definitely do have some questions because as a MGTOW, when I first started or whatnot, I was informed that, stay away from anti-MGTOWs, and because of that, I think that there's a lot of misunderstandings between them. I think that some people in the extreme in the MGTOW believe that anti-MGTOW is like so against them, like totally opposite of them, and I don't believe that. I don't believe that the crack is so wide, but what do you think?
Well, I think that there's a lot of misconceptions about it. Like, a lot of people really think people like me are this anti-male thing, which we're not. And the bottom
Yeah.
line is there's a lot of gray area when it comes to all this. And I am actually pro-male, and again, there's a lot of nuanced positions regarding my side that not every single one of us are extreme as what people may claim it to be. And the same thing is also applies to the MGTOW. It's not everyone's the same, and not everyone is as extreme as the other side. But there's more commonality between me and Mexican MGTOW, and basically than what people realize, especially with some stances regarding the system and lots of other stuff.
I agree. The a question that pops into my head a lot is like when I first heard anti-MGTOW, I thought that you guys were going to try to convince people to go get married, that it's a good idea and whatnot. But I don't. If someone wants to get married, in my opinion, I think that they should do it as they please. But the way I see it is like take with it the information that is being given to them, And it's a MGTOW. A lot of times I realize that people say they want to help others, but then if they decide to go get married or cohabitate with a woman or something, they want to cut all ties. What does anti MGTOW feel about that?
Hmm. In regards to that, well, I can only speak from my position, but I'd say, regardless if you want to get married or not, I mean, it's better to prepare yourself for any and all potentialities of it going south, or it going good, or just it potentially failing. And whoever the individual chooses, it's up to the individual to be morally and ethically responsible to carry out what they do. And it all goes back to what I would think as responsibility in particular. People have to be responsible towards their own decisions. Like, there's nothing wrong with being married and all that, unless if you're doing it with a bad person that can take advantage of you. Like, then that person shouldn't be with the other person. Like, say situation A, the dude marries this girl, then this girl beats the living shit out of this dude with a candlestick. Like, that's a bad situation. That person shouldn't be in that relationship.
I agree. Yeah, I so much agree on that. Let me ask you a question that I have been wondering about. What does anti MGTOW feel about, like girlfriends and wives and whatnot? Like, are you guys against MGTOW because some MGTOWs speak very ill of women, or like some MGTOWs may say that you guys are white knighting? Is that really the case?
Um, Again, I can only speak for myself and the movement I've been making, but I would say it's more logically based on claims, not defending one gender just because there's an assumption about that or not. That's irrelevant to us. What's relevant is going after the ideas and the arguments that people may think about one particular subject. And no, we don't defend one gender over not. So my best answer would be we're not white knights. I mean, in fact, on Twitter, I saw a girl basically go after basically these people, and I happen to lift a finger to defend her, and I that's always been my stance because I prefer people to deal with their own battles basically, and it's a good testament of them to be able to handle their own so that they can learn and grow and be able to expand their ability to debate, and that's what I'm all about. I don't defend other people unless if there's a good reason for it. If you know what I'm saying.
Yes, no, I know what you mean. So you formed the anti-MGTOW Federation movement. Can you briefly tell me what that's about? Like,
Sure, if you like. That movement is merely a rational talking points or counter to just a very extreme version of MGTOW, which and to specify that movement is not it's not a feminist movement, it's not an SJW movement, it's not any of those movements, it's something entirely on its own, and it's very open to the idea of other people joining, but again, the just the preface on this point that it's not an SJW thing because part of the goal is to fix society and to fix the situation, and the only way to do that is to look beyond the stupidity side of what people have been saying and be able to overcome personal bias in order to achieve unity in order to fix society. Um, and that and the movement is more or less about going over stupid ideas and hopefully coming up with a solution so that people don't have to be in fear about everything because there's too much paranoia in the world, if you really ask me.
oh, I agree. There's a lot of paranoia going on and whatnot. Let me ask you, like, I are anti-MGTOWs married men? Are they like married and they're going after MGTOW because they're upset of what they're saying about married men and calling them blue pill and whatnot?
No, I think with that, I can only speak for myself because with that, I don't think that's the case because I think what it is people are basically assuming the other side is this, even though they may not identify that thing as themselves. And I don't believe that they're married people going after MGTOW because of that. I think it's more or less going after ideas, not necessarily if they're married or not. I mean,
Oh yeah, I like that. I like that. The ideas and whatnot, and in MGTOW, I've listened to other MGTOW video contests that are pretty extreme. You know, I don't believe in everything that's being said out there. For example, I don't believe in cutting ties with someone that I've been talking to simply because he decided to date, for example, or take a woman out or whatnot. You know, I still believe it's important that if we say we're going to help men out, that we actually stick around and help men out. What do you guys think about that?
hmm. Well, personally, I'm against the idea of trying to cut ties off of other people just because they want to do something different. Like, um, in fact, I'm very am well against people cutting off other people just because they want to go their own way or not. I mean, sorry, excuse me. I had a situation before where this was years ago, by the way, and it's not related to anything recent, but this one dude went absolutely apeshit crazy. I tried staying friends with him as much as possible, but due to guilt by association, this guy just cut ties with me. And despite the fact that I've done everything, I know what the feeling is like. with other people trying to cut ties off of you if you decide to do one thing over the other. And I morally am against the idea of just people cutting off ties just because they have a differencing of opinion, or simply put, they want to try something new, or if you understand what I'm saying.
Yes, yes, I do know what you're saying. Sadly enough, even in the MGTOW community, there's a group of people in it where they police it, and I don't like it. I don't like it because these individuals become trolls and then they want to shut down people's speech. They want to tell MGTOWs what they can and can't do or say, or stick to a specific way of doing videos and whatnot. I'm not for that. I think that we should be able to express ourselves, but there has been times where I've gotten flagged over that. Have you experienced such things?
Yeah, I've actually have. I mean, even in my own neck of the woods, if even in my end of neck of the woods, I personally have had experiences where I say the wrong words, then I get penalized automatically by a bunch of people, and just for expressing my views. Like in my personal view, I don't like Minecraft, and the moment I said that, I got hounded by a bunch of people just for simply the fact I don't like Minecraft. I don't play the game because it's too blocky. That's my beef with Minecraft. But you get what I'm saying. I don't
Yes,
like
yes.
I don't like the idea that people can police each other in the community, whichever side you may be. And
Yeah.
regardless of what you think, anybody that tells you what to do and what not to do, I mean, those are the people should be ignoring. Like ignore the police squad if you know what I'm saying. Just
Oh yeah.
ignore them. That way you can that way you can enjoy yourself and do your own self content. Like if I'm going to make an anti Minecraft video series, I'm going to do it regardless if I get a lot of hate about that.
Yes. Yes, I hear you. I hear on the MGTOW side that, they wanted to get bigger and bigger and better and everything. But you know what? If in the MGTOW community we can associate with one another, the anti-MGTOWs and the MGTOWs working together like we are right now, if we can achieve that, I don't see how we're going to be able to move forward with that.
Hmm.
It's just a lot of hate. That's what I've discovered. I've discovered sincere people and I've made good friends and whatnot. But I've also discovered lots of trolls. A lot of people, they're just there playing pretend. They just want to control you. They just want to tell you what to do. Especially when they catch someone in a red pill rage, when they're angry. Maybe that they just broke up. They just discovered that their wife cheated or something. These individuals in the MGTOW community just want to take advantage of that. Me, on the other hand, since I've experienced it firsthand, I actually want to be there and listen to the individual and lend a sympathetic ear. I don't
Hmm.
think that's anything wrong with that. And I don't believe that we as MGTOWs should be hunting each other down over that. That's not a sign of weakness. That's actually a sign of caring for one another.
All right.
Tell me, tell me in the anti MGTOW, would you guys show such support as well?
Yeah. Like the thing is, my position is to help people fix a society, and whichever ideas are brought up that can actually said fix situations or give advice. I mean, we're all for it, and we can certainly help out with other cases, and we'd like the extra help if possible. And we're not afraid of asking help when we need it.
So, what do you guys think of the woman? Like, because as a MGTOW myself, I see women as dangerous. Well, what's your take?
Um, my take is that when it comes to that particular, I believe that in society, like I tend to judge everything from a society standpoint. That it's biologically our nature to reproduce. It's just a matter of we need to have a good common moral stance, like a good way to basically find out, okay, how can we get common sense into the mix of things and actually find out which is the right one over the other, and figure out, okay, how do we not get ourselves fucked up in this situation, like
Yeah.
And again, it goes back to what I said about the gray area. Like life is filled with that. Granted, not everyone's going to be as not everyone is the same, so there will be rotten apples, whereas the others are not. So it's a matter of common sense and having the ability to find out, okay, which ones the good ones and the bad ones, basically, and sure,
Mhm.
people can avoid them if they choose to. My moral stance is that it's better to have common sense and the skills to be able to basically find out the good ones or the bad ones and how not to get yourself in the trap. Like I'm all for giving out tips that can actually help people um basically avoid those trappings. Like I like to call them the red flags because with every person, people give out red flags.
Yeah.
You're dating someone, then that someone decides, hey, I'm not going to pay a bill. Can you pay it? That's a red flag right there. That those are little hints that I find that people like me can give out good advice to help people basically avoid that situation and now to rectify it. Like it also stems from our human behavior that generally breeds that behavior that causes it and begin with. And so in the finally states, I don't think women are dangerous. I think women are just human beings in general. And the problem is people have forgotten how to get common sense into the mix of things um to basically help avoid traps and how to fix themselves up to a point where they aren't afraid and they don't get themselves stuck in a situation.
Yeah, I agree. You know, in mgtow we say pump and dump. What do you guys feel about that?
Hmm. Pump and dump. Well, I would say that well, you may have to remind me again because I'm
Like,
a
what I'm saying is it's kind of like a one night stand type thing. You know, we don't want to cohabitate with the woman or whatnot because we fear that they'll switch on us and then all of a sudden we'll be in hot water and
ah
you know, that kind of thing.
I see. In that situation, like those are situations where I would say again, it's common sense that people needs to learn better how to avoid certain situations like that. And like ultimately, I am against people doing that when they do that to the man, and I'll always call out any woman that decides to do that. But at the same time, there's a level of common sense that people are missing. And that common sense is that we need to find a way to give out these pro tips that can help men basically not get in that situation to begin with. That way, it's preventable, and that person is never in that situation.
So let me see if I can understand like I know I'm talking to you and I know you don't represent all anti MGTOWs, but I mean let's face it, I mean you're a good source for me to ask.
Mm-hmm.
Like me as a MGTOW, I say bitches and hoes and all that. But do anti MGTOWs also say that? I mean, do we still have that idea
Uh,
like you know, or are we like oh you guys are all sophisticated and you want to be careful not to hurt their feelings because they're
no,
angels and that's not the case, is it? Right? I mean, come on,
no,
right?
no, no, no. I
Oh
don't.
man.
I don't think that's a giant misunderstanding right there
Oh man, clear it up.
because we don't kowtow to people like that. It's like I'm personally am the type of dude that if you're wrong about something, I'll call you out. I don't care about feelings. I care about facts. And
That's good.
again, I can't speak for the others. Like I'm pretty sure, but me personally, I don't. I just don't kowtow to people's feelings and all that. I care about what's the facts, like fact A or fact B, and the emotions are irrelevant to me. And in fact, bringing in emotion into argumentation is kind of dangerous because it makes the other person um, faulty, and it makes it hard for them to listen. But I don't want to go off track of that. But I'm just saying, like,
No,
like
no,
you're
I understand. I mean, the thing here is that I've met some MGTOWs that will go as far as to not even want to socialize with a woman. You know what I
oh,
mean? Like
I
in an
hope
everyday basis and whatnot. Uh, I think it's crucial that we continue to socialize with women in our everyday life. I mean, how are we gonna cocoon ourselves and isolate ourselves? I mean, how are we gonna update our ourselves? What do you think of that? Is there anyone in the anti MGTOW that you know or whatnot that also stays entirely away from women?
our group is new and we're tiny, so we didn't actually get a person in that situation yet. But if we do get a person in that situation, my best advice was is and will always be no isolation. Like isolationism is a bad thing for the human psyche, certainly, and I'm totally against isolation because it's damaging to the human minds because the world is far bigger than what people think, and ultimately, ultimately, if the person decides to close himself off from society and turn from the other gender, it's like that breeds that breeds an unhealthy mind that will eventually destroy itself, and that's wrong. And people should be more supportive and actually try and help the person and not be so isolationist. Like I get there are some reasons why isolation does work, but I'm not for isolationism. I'm for people going out in the world. Sure, the world's going to be angry and ugly. Sure, the world's like that naturally, but there's not a good sides of it that those people that are isolated are missing out on, going to your grocery store and some dude actually hits you in a car and some person actually saves your life through paramedic skills. You won't be able to get all that if you're isolationist.
Yeah.
Just saying from my perspective, like isolationism is never the good thing. I'm more for people exploring the world and actually being able to meet new people and stay healthy, basically.
In the MGTOW, there's this idea that or there's this set idea of some MGTOWs that they believe if they could, they would prevent the youth from even having to deal with women without having to, date them or anything to that effect. I personally believe that we as men, we should go out there, we should learn. Again, I think that the key thing here is in the knowledge. What I've discovered that when I try to give these knowledge to these young men and telling them, hey, if you're going to do this, wear a condom, be careful of STDs and whatnot, be careful of pregnancies. I've gotten comments back saying, oh, you're all PUA and stuff like that. And it's like, it has nothing to do with that. We need to give information out there pertaining to MGTOW and saying, don't get married, don't do this, don't do that. But we still have to be realistic in saying some are going to do that. And we should give them good advice as well instead of just neglecting them. But in the anti MGTOW, I want to know, is there people there that do that? I'm not saying that there are anti MGTOW PUAs, but are
Ah,
they giving tips and whatnot like that?
um, my group's just new, so we haven't done that yet. However, there are some
Okay.
people that have done in the past where they've given advice, and there's even a few people that are critical of MGTOW I heavily disagree with, especially if one or two people that manage to basically do what they do, and they give out certainly good advice and also bad advice at the same time. So I think it's sort
Yeah.
of a common similarity right there, only, and that's because I think it's human nature that gives us that common similarity. I think there's a bit of similarity there. Granted, I'm against calling other people PWA or
Yeah.
just because they just because well, excuse me, just because they sort of give advice to other people. I'm like, hey, if you have good advice, I'm willing to listen and hear it.
Yes, I agree. What do you think about, like, I want to say mgtow monks in general, but the idea is like, if an anti mgtow that has been married before, right, and it went south, and he went through horrors and whatnot. I don't understand why an anti mgtow that's gone through that and a mgtow that's also gone through that, why can't we see eye to eye? There has to be anti mgtows out there that have gone through that and have decided not to get married because they fear it might happen again. So
Yeah,
why is there so much angry or hostility towards each other when we have so much in common as men?
I I think I think the reason being is because people, it goes back to human tribalism, and I think people in general, we tend to take sides, and half of them don't want to listen to the other sides, and that's because we're naturally tribalistic, and sometimes tribalism is good and bad, but I'm against that because like it goes back to one of the people I've mentioned before, where I heavily disagree with this one person because he's using anger as a tool against MGTOWs, which I'm totally against. And the best thing I can say is, like, I don't understand why people are angry at each other. I mean, I usually take this stance as a logical position and without emotion. And like again, I can't speak for others, but
Yeah.
I think it goes back to human tribalism. Human beings naturally will be happy or sad with each other or angry, and the best we can do to prevent said thing is to try and see what the common similarities are. Like we both obviously care for men, do we not?
Yeah. Yes, indeed, we do.
And
Indeed.
I think this common similarity needs to be the top topic or priority. So any discussion that's not about men shouldn't be talked about, and that way you can minimize the risk of having two parties yell at each other so much.
I for one am very grateful that you formed the anti-MGTOW Federation movement, because I am for that. You know, no one movement, no one organization or anything is flaw, is without flaw. You know, we all make mistakes, and if we have someone beside us that also understands, because in order, I'm making an assumption, but in order to be an anti-MGTOW, you have to at least know what MGTOW is about. And if
Yeah,
you
I
know that,
agree.
and you happen to spot something, it may be in someone's video or whatnot, and you bring it to light, I, for one, think that that's wonderful and great, because at least now we know, because there is going to be some people that are just going to go far left. I mean, and nothing you can do about it. But we do need to bring, when there's circumstances or situations in which someone in a community is acting ill manner, is not acting right, is making false accusations and whatnot, we do need to bring that up. And if we have anti-MGTOW with us, they can also concur and say, yes, we agree, and keeping our heads straight, versus
Mm-hmm.
trying to police our own community, because we know that doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
It,
Yeah.
it just it just forms into bullying, and yes, there is bullying in MGTOW.
Yeah.
There's bullying in MGTOW. Let me ask you a question. This is what I'm trying to understand, because I've touched base with men. They used to be MGTOWs, you see, and then all of a sudden they got discouraged for some reason or another, and I don't blame them for whatever reason that it happened. They take the MGTOW away, and they hold this anger. Oh my God, this animosity towards all MGTOWs afterwards. And the way I see it, it's like, hey, I myself have gone through that. I myself have felt despicable over MGTOW, and I've thought about that, but I didn't do it. You understand? Because I am who
Mm-hmm.
I am, and I understand that the group's going to do what they're going to do. But these other individuals drop the MGTOW, but yet they hold the same philosophy and ideas, but they're full of rage, and they're using that rage and calling themselves anti-MGTOWs.
And that's what I'm against because I'm against people using anger as a justification for being a part of my group. Like anger is never the solution because this is what I would like to call it. I would like to call that symptom double red pill rage, basically,
Whoa.
where someone leaves the mgtow and they become anti-mgtow, but they still have that rage. I'm formally against that because the thing is, being angry makes everybody stupid basically, and it blinds them to the facts and events of the world. And I guess the reason why people get that angry is because like some people have their own reasons of why they left MGTOW, and they may be misguided. Some may be possibly beneficial. I have no idea because I can only speak for myself. But what I can say is that I never understood the anger with some people, and I really wish that people would drop the anger completely and focus on about the logical rationality discussions about the topic at hand, because that anger serves no purpose. And I guess the reason why people get angry is because there are some cases where people have been ostracized from their group, and that can tend to make some people really pissed off because they believed in that sort of group so heartedly into the message, and they get backstabbed. And I think most people would be upset, but the ones that are truly, I mean, truly angry about the situation that don't let it go are the dangerous ones. And those are the ones I'll be looking out for, and I will not let them even close to my movement because those people need to learn, hey, take a chill pill, quite literally. Because, I mean, with that anger, that in itself is dangerous.
Well, speaking of that, so you're starting your own show and you're interviewing people. Like someone like that, for example, would you consider interviewing, or where are you heading towards this direction? Like, are you going to have two people there? They can debate it, or what are you thinking?
Well, I was thinking the interview would be me and someone else, just basically two people, and I'm not limited to like I won't exclude people unless if there are certain people that are proven to be douchebags. But I was thinking of I was thinking of basically taking the interview and interviewing everybody basically, not just MGTOWs, but anti-MGTOWs. There's also a woman version of it, which I have no idea, but my point is I'm going to be interviewing everybody from the spectrum, and regardless regardless of what spectrum they're, I will interview them. And in regarding of anger, I'll ask them to be calm about it because if they get flaring and angry, I don't exactly tolerate that well. Which I can do my best to
Mhm.
try and interview the person if he's angry. But I'm just saying that those are situations I don't like putting myself into because I prefer a logical and rational discussion about some said topics. I like to take out the emotion out of it because the emotion makes things more difficult to convey new ideas.
So, in perspective, anti-MGTOWs are not so far off from MGTOWs. I mean, they understand the philosophy, they understand where we're coming from. It's just that some MGTOWs are pretty extreme.
Mm,
Can we say that?
yeah, and
Some MGTOWs
yeah,
are pretty extreme. Let me tell you that I didn't believe it, but there are some anti-MGTOWs that block MGTOWs. Like
yeah.
I went to one and I got rudely blocked. I mean, I got fucking crucified by this guy, and I liked him. I was listening to his live stream and all. I liked it, the similarities, the ideas, and everything. I like to think that he was a MGTOW before, and now he's not. But now he's full of rage, he's anger. And I went over
Mhm.
there and I threw in my 2 cents here and there, and damn, I got bombarded by everybody. Some of them knew me, and the ones that didn't know me or whatnot, they all just went forward and unleashing a wrath on me. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. For the ones that don't even know me, all they see is MGTOW at the end, and they just went all off. If MGTOW has a problem with a lot of anger, red pill, rage, and everything, anti-MGTOWs are catching up. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? They're
yeah,
catching up.
they are, and it goes. This sort of goes back to the double red pill rage, as I mentioned. I think a part of it is a human failure of recognizing that anger is not good, and I think that's a similarity between us too. Like, sure, I've gotten angry, but I haven't gone. as far as blocking people, and I'm totally am against blocking people just because they're of the other side. And I don't know. I don't know specifically how many people do that just because they're not MGTOWs, but what I will say is I'm not going to be blocking people unless there's a good reason for it, and that's just me personally. And I kind of wish that they didn't block you because you could have brought a good idea to the table and actually have a discussion so that you can touch base and actually grow this discussion more.
Oh, I agree so much. I mean, I try my best to touch base with this person or to listen or whatnot, but no, it's straight block. You know, they don't want to hear it or anything. So it is very difficult for me to see where they're going to, what kind of progress they're seeking when they're just blocking MGTOWs. I mean, it's foolishness in my opinion, because
Mm-hmm.
he's still a man, and I'm still a man. And when they block me, I don't believe that they're blocking me because they believe, oh no, you should be married. You know what I'm saying? I think it's inner anger that they've got from other MGTOWs, and they're just unleashing it on anybody. And the fact of the matter is that when it comes to anti-MGTOW and MGTOWs, we're always getting new recruits. We're always getting new people coming in freshly. You understand? That are
Yeah.
legitimately want to learn what's going on and make their own mind up. And they're getting bombarded by hate, like you mentioned. It's just hate all around, and I don't know. I think the
Yeah.
hate needs to stop, and I think we should, collaborate with one another and talk about these differences and whatnot, and agree to disagree. I mean, that's fine. I've not heard an anti-MGTOW say to me or anyone else, go get married or go have unprotected sex so you can leave someone pregnant or get an STD. I've not heard that, so I'm having a difficult time trying to understand why a lot of MGTOWs are so hell bent on anti-MGTOWs. To be honest with you.
Um, I think I know why, and I think it's because when MGTOW started, which I believe the time zone was 2012 and pushing on, people have basically invented this idea of a boogeyman,
Oh.
and basically with that boogeyman in their minds, they basically written what that boogeyman was like, and for years they've been rehashing the same ideas over and over again. And by the time when the real thing actually comes, like much years later, when it's not the way that they think it is, they tend to refuse to accept the truth that we're not all like that. And despite that, they need a boogeyman, and that's why there's a lot of hate with the MGTOWs on us because a lot it's because they want a boogeyman, someone that's naturally going to basically be against them in every step at the manor when that's not the situation. And all it is really is them, they want a boogeyman. And some of the more paranoid ones are the ones that will say the most out of a random dudes, and it's a random dude, and call them all sorts of names because that person wants a boogeyman, and that's bad because if you have a boogeyman and you try to basically plaster this person as this boogeyman, it's that person's not going to learn or grow. He's just going to be continuously angry until the day he turns to dust, and that's a bad, unhealthy cycle. People should be breaking away from him.
I agree. There's a lot of people out there that just love to troll. I've had quite a few trolls on my side, and they said quite a lot of stuff. A lot of anger, and I find it very confusing when it comes to why people will spend so much time hating. I know because you have anti MGTOW. Okay, that's it. Let's go all out and and starts talking smack with one another and everything. When in reality, we're both men, and in real life, we go out there in the real world, and we have to deal with similar situations because the fact of the matter is that if you and I were to meet in real time, in real life, we wouldn't know that I'm MGTOW and you're anti MGTOW. You know what I
No,
mean?
yeah, we,
We
we we wouldn't know. I mean, I'd be the person like, hey, sir, can I borrow $1? And I wouldn't know what you were like.
No, we would be able to start a conversation for sure,
Yeah.
especially if we were to start talking about women, life, and what's happened with us personally in relationships and whatnot. Now, we should have the opportunity as men to talk to one another, regardless anti MGTOW or MGTOWs, about relationships, especially if we want to vent or talk about something that happened to us. Because in the moment, like when I was experiencing red pill rage, oh, I went all off. To me, all women were the same. You understand? All manipulative, controlling, she devils. But am I right? Come on, let's be realistic.
Yeah. Let let's
I mean,
let's all be realistic. I think both genders. I mean, everybody's manipulative to a degree. Like it's not exclusive to one gender, and that's kind of the reality of it. Like like I used to talk to this one dude, and it turns out he was extremely manipulative, and damn,
oh,
that was a bad situation right there years ago, like maybe been 4 years ago. But still, that's kind of the reality of it. It's just everyone's manipulative to a degree. It's just a matter of finding out, or it's a matter of being able to develop your mind so that you can detect if that person's manipulative. Then you can, after that point, you can avoid that person if they're trying to
yeah.
manipulate you in a certain fashion. Which I'll always be against people being manipulative regardless of any gender.
Oh, I agree. I mean, I've gotten some trolls that have been very insistent. I did have to block them or get rid of them because, yeah, they're just straight trolls trying to tell you how to run your channel, what to say, how to change and everything. And it's just like, hey, wait a minute. I mean, if they have their own opinions and everything, they can start their own movement, they can move forward with it or whatnot. But I guess people are like that in both sides because I know anti MGTOW has that as
Yeah.
well as MGTOW. I mean, it's like we're not one is not greater than the other when it comes to trolling and everything because in the end we're all human, we're all men. Like my question is why is so some MGTOWs will not allow a woman to enter the forum. I understand that, and I'm going to stay away from all that 100%. I don't want that. But what I'm saying is like, why don't they exclude the women? Fine, but why don't they just allow not only the anti-MGTOWs but anybody in general? It's like you said. They say, oh no, it's the boogeyman. We don't want to hear it. We don't want to know about it. Push it aside and whatnot. But the fact of the matter is that there's knowledge there, and they're just pushing it away
Mm-hmm.
when we
And
can learn from it.
yeah, and I love how you phrase that pretty well. It's knowledge, and people shouldn't be pushing it aside. I mean, if the other person came to their lifestyle in a very different manner, they should be allowed inside a forum or channel or what have you, just because they have a differencing of opinion. And I like how you phrased it with a new found knowledge. I believe that's what you said, and I love how you phrased that. And that would be an excellent topic you could go into in one of your videos. Like you could talk about the how people with other knowledge should be more should possibly just join more forums and actually have discussion to that way people can learn from each other. Just a suggestion.
Oh no, I agree. The way I see it is like a lot of times in the MGTOW community, it sometimes resembles to religion. Where they just want to. Like I've had people in the MGTOW community say to me, "Oh, don't go on that side. Oh, don't listen to that. Oh, avoid that video or whatever." And it's kind of like religion. When I was trapped in religion, they would say, "Stick to this religion. Don't talk to that church member. Don't talk to that person. Oh, that person over there is not a brother," and so forth. I see that going on in the MGTOW community as well. I see a cluster of men or whatnot that are trying to monopolize as well. I'm not for that. I think that anti-MGTOWs that bring that to light, I'm for that. I like that. We should know what's going on, who's trying to monopolize, who's being the bullies.
Hmm. Yeah, exactly. And is these bullies and these people that love to manipulate that needs to be rather exposed because those are the people that I hate the most. And
I agree.
And I always feel that these people are they need to be challenged far more often because the moment they tell another person what to do, what not to do, then that's sort of enslavement to me, and that's no good.
Oh, I agree. I mean, I think back and say there is no benefit for a man to discover MGTOW and then fall in one of these groups that just want to manipulate men and whatnot. They don't grow. They don't learn like you just mentioned a little while ago. There is no new knowledge. These individuals, they regurgitate the same thing over and over and over. It's just pure manipulation.
Mm-hmm.
I hope to capture these men that are barely entering the MGTOW community. I hope to capture them so that I can talk to them and show them that I am as real as you yourself right now, being an anti-MGTOW. I have no problem in telling a man, hey, listen, if you want to hear the other side of the coin or the other side of the story or whatnot, I will gladly send them your way. I'll send them to your channel. I'll say, go check it out. Go talk to homeboy over there and see where you fit in. Because no one is 100%, no one has 100% truth, not the anti-MGTOW, not the MGTOWs or anything. That's why we need to collaborate and continue to talk to
Yeah.
one another. But there are some people in the MGTOW community, they're pushing real hard to avoid that.
Yeah.
Like the plague. I mean, like the plague. They will ostracize you, like you mentioned. I've been
Mm-hmm.
ostracized by MGTOW lots of times because of what I say. Just like you mentioned you about that game that what was it that blocks? I'm
Minecraft. How
yes.
I said I was the Minecraft, and a lot of people apparently hated that over Twitter once.
And that's all it took. Same thing with me. You know, I refuse to go live and start talking about what I'm talking about, and then start thinking about, oh, I have restrictions because these MGTOWs over here that happen to have so much subscribers that promise me that they're going to help me with subscribers and I'm going to be somebody and everything, that I have to, not say certain things. And I don't think that's correct. We should be able to speak our mind, anti MGTOW or MGTOWs.
Exactly, and we should be able to speak our minds and be able to basically say what we want. As for the people that love the promise, big subscribe numbers, I generally tend to stay away from those people because those people, half the time, those people that love to promise just big subscriber numbers, they
Yeah.
always end up being morally bankrupt with some bad decision choices. That and more or less some of those people are manipulative to a degree. Not to mention they have a very fucked up view of morality. Certainly, like my personal stance is that whenever I do videos, I don't care about the subscriber number. That's really irrelevant to me. What's relevant is making the video, leaving it up there, and let's see what new ideas are spawned with it. Like the people that love the promised big subscribers, um, I have naturally grown to distrust them because most of the time they either don't fulfill their end of the deal or they are backstabbing people.
Oh, I agree. I want to send a shout out to Lucifer Troll. What's up, my brother? Good to see you. Hi.
All right.
Yeah, no, I agree. I've had my run-ins with these individuals, and the thing being is that they're spending all this time talking to new people about subscriber counts and then being loyal to them so they can benefit in the end and whatnot, and they're pushing away the real issue. The real issue is about men and where they are in set time. Like maybe right now there's a man right now that's hearing us that
Mm-hmm.
probably just heard the news that his girlfriend that he loves so much cheated on him or whatnot. You see, that's the importance. That's why I say I'm MGTOW and I do MGTOW contents because I'm trying to reach these guys while these other individuals that have been in MGTOW longer than I have and want to pull seniorities, they don't care about that. They could care less. They're just always concentrating on what themselves, and then they come up with philosophy that has nothing to do with MGTOW. A lot of these MGTOW monks, and I don't mean all MGTOW monks, I'm talking about specific clan or group of them, they stick together and they want to convince you not to have sex, period, ever in your whole entire life. Go hide in a damn cave and stuff. You know how ignorant and naive you're going to become if you isolate yourself from the world, you're not going to know what's going on. How is that going to benefit you as a man?
Hmm.
I,
Exactly.
I'm sorry, I speak about MGTOW monks, and I get a lot of heat over it, but a lot of you MGTOW monks don't understand that there are other ones that are very extreme. I may not be talking about you specifically, but the extreme ones are the ones that I just don't agree with at all. Some of them
Hmm.
go as far as to say, even at the workplace, they're like, don't even look at the woman, don't even socialize with the woman. I'm like, oh my God. I mean, that's extreme, in my opinion. I mean,
It is. It's that right there is extreme, and with those people in particular, I do plan on making response videos to the very, very, very extreme people, because those are the people that need to actually have a chill pill and realize that, yo, um, the world is not like a cave. Like, get out of that man cave of yours.
I agree. I agree strongly on that one stuff. I'm glad that I had the opportunity to talk to you,
Hmm.
and I hope that anti-MGTOW Federation movement becomes stronger and stronger. And I hope that other individuals, MGTOWs and anti-MGTOWs, let's get together, guys. I mean, let's form a list of questions, or a list of things that you hate about MGTOW and whatnot. And let's bring it, on air, and let's talk about it like real men, because in the end, we are men, and we still have the same problems and situations when it comes to women. Remember, gentlemen, it doesn't matter if you're a MGTOW or an anti-MGTOW. We still have to deal with the woman and the consequences that come with that. Do we really need to be going to battle with one another? I mean, we got feminists going on that I mean, that's more than enough. We don't need to be fighting one another. And I would like for other individuals, if they feel that they want to touch base with either the Forbidden Thinker or myself, by all means, move forward. The organization is here. And if you ever want to talk to an anti-MGTOW, the Forbidden Thinker is right here. He's awesome and everything. He is real.
Yeah, yeah. I'm totally real about this, and I'm all about basically having people ask me questions, and I'm willing to respond and to listen to their side. And just like Nix and MGTOW said, I'm always there to help people out whenever I'm able. And my hope is that I can build up this interview thing. That way, people that are rationally sane can come up here and ask their questions from time to time, and we can touch base and actually grow intellectually, so that we can come up with a common grounds, and ultimately come down to a proper way of how to deal with this whole thing called life. And I'm not the guy that likes to exclude people. Like, if you have a totally radical idea, I can definitely talk to you about it. Like I'm always willing to talk to a MGTOW or any sort of grouping of the same spectrum, whether it be anti or non-anti.
I agree so much. And I think we should put aside our hatred. It does cloud our mind, there is no real benefit to that. And let me throw it out there: if anybody out there, MGTOW, anti-MGTOW, or whatnot, are getting bullied, let us know, guys. I mean, let us know. I'll go check out the video. I'll hear you out and whatnot. I know the Forbidden Thinker will do the same. You don't stand alone. You're not the only person that's gotten bullied. And anti-MGTOWs are not the only ones that get bullied. MGTOWs get bullied as well. Like we touched base a little while ago. There are some anti-MGTOWs that have a lot of rage as well.
Yeah, it. Yeah, we. Uh, there's even a few people that do it constantly, and I wish that they'd let go of the anger. But yeah, there's a bit of similarity with that too.
Yeah, well, sadly enough, no matter what we say or do, I mean, a lot of these men are full of rage, and they're not going to let go of that. The best thing to do is that we need to know when to detach away from these individuals that truly are toxic. Because if we stick around long enough, that I mean, the toxicity is just going to land on us. That's why in my channel, whatnot, I tell people, Yeah, I tell men, listen, go and hear other MGTOW content or anti-MGTOW content or whatnot, and learn and grow. Sadly enough, not a lot of people say that because they're too preoccupied with their numbers, you know, the sub counts and whatnot. But if you really want to learn, then I suggest you look at both sides of MGTOW and anti-MGTOW, you know, and don't be a hater. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. Just don't be a hater. Drop the anger and hates, let's talk about the ideas and how to improve your life quality in a way where you have a better life, basically.
Yes, indeed. I also want to throw in out there that this is for a lot of MGTOWs out there. Please acknowledge the fact that anti-MGTOWs are also men, and they also go through red pill rage, and they also go through being dumped and hurt and everything. So I'm just throwing that out there because a lot of MGTOWs, they just want to act like anti-MGTOWs are aliens, literally aliens. Oh, I'm talking to a MGTOW man. I mentioned something about anti-MGTOW, this or that, and right away they're like, "Oh no, they're aliens. I don't know nothing about them. I don't want to hear them." That's ridiculous on both sides. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that right there is ridiculous because those are the type of people that that really needs to get a reality check.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Forbidden Thinker, thank you so much for having me on. I'm gonna go ahead and bail out,
All right.
but I hope you get many subscribers. I hope a lot of people take advantage of the fact that it's here, and that you're willing to listen to them and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm willing to always chat with people that may disagree or agree, whatever the case may be. And I'm always there willing to help if possible. And
Eh,
I'd like to end the interview now because I have to go because I think we reached our 1 hour limit. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, but before you go, man, I
Mhm.
want to say, hey, thank you very much for the avatar. I love it, man. Fantastic avatar, guys. You guys should really take advantage. Talk to the Forbidden Thinker about that.
Uh, you're welcome.
Yeah, and thank you for the interview, man. Huh?
You're welcome.
All right, guys. Let you go.